Hello. Hope everyone's doing well, or whomever's watching. Um, Another beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Sorry. I don't know. I'm having a good day so far, which is surprising considering I didn't really sleep well last night. I just couldn't fall asleep. I literally tossed and turned for about 5 hours. It was super annoying. Supposed to go fishing this morning, but hopefully we can go out. We can take the boat out tomorrow. That would be nice. In any case, I was inspired to talk about something that I mentioned in the past, which is called abundant mindset, right? What does that mean? It's looking at life from a lens of, I don't know, appreciation and abundance versus lack mentality, okay? And lack mentality is very common, and we all struggle with it to some degree, especially if we've had disappointment in our lives, which is another word that we've talked about in the past, or I've talked about. Um, in any case, we can be appreciative of some of the overt and main things that are in our face, right? But abundant mindset is really just appreciating the little things. I feel in my life that I'm surrounded by miracles. I believe in miracles. It's all in how you look at it. For example, I actually recently had a person trigger a memory for me. And I appreciated that memory so much. I appreciated the person who triggered the memory. And it was my love of roses. I always knew I loved roses, but I forgot why. And it brought back this memory of when I was little, very little. I was probably like 2 or 3, probably like around 3, maybe going on 4, I don't know. We lived in this house that my grandparents owned, and we had an apartment or whatever. And we had this neighbor who, it wasn't a great area in Worcester. And at that time, Worcester was on the decline, not on the upcline like it is now. In any case, she did her yard with all these beautiful flowers and all these beautiful roses. And she used to give me cookies and stuff like that. I remember going over her house if she had time, and she was such a wonderful woman. I bumped into her years later when I was a cashier. She came through and she's like, "Oh my God." I guess I have memorable eyes or features. I don't know. In any case, she was like, "I'll never forget you." And we chatted for a little bit, and it just warmed my heart. But in any case, she had all these beautiful roses. And whenever I'd go over for the cookies, and I know this isn't a typical 3-year-old, but I was more enthralled with the roses. And how beautiful they smelled, and how gorgeous they were, and how beautifully she kept them. And the butterflies, and I used to love butterflies. When I was little, we had so many butterflies everywhere. In fact, we were always outside. And sometimes if we were outside in the woods, I lived in the woods, we couldn't get back to eat lunch or something, we'd eat the wild berries. There was always an abundance of Concord grapes and blueberry bushes and raspberry bushes. And sometimes I would just sit out there in nature and just eat the berries. And then I was good for a few more hours or whatever. But I remember there was so many butterflies in this area when I was little. They used to land on my hand and stuff. I used to love them. And sadly, there hasn't been a lot lately, and I don't know why. I'm sure there's a scientific reason for it, but it's sad that there's not as many. However, when we think of things like that, we can think of what there isn't, or what the lack is, or we can focus on when we are graced with a butterfly. I was literally sitting out here, I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago, and I was just looking at the trees. There's a whole bunch of trees over on the other side of me here. So if you see me looking out, I'm just looking at trees. I know I'm funny that way. But in any case, I saw these two white butterflies, and they were doing a dance. And it was the coolest thing. It really was. And I watched them from the corner of my eye, but then directly too. I watched them frolic for a good solid 3-4 minutes. And it made my soul smile. It did. I mean, they were just white butterflies. They weren't as colorful or as big as I remember seeing when I was a kid. But it's still just, it was, to me, that was like a gift. It was a gift to see these beautiful white butterflies playing with each other. Same thing with fireflies or like those lightning bugs. I remember when I was a kid, they were everywhere. We used to catch them in jars, and then I'd always feel bad. I'm like, I gotta let it go. I don't want it to die. But they were so cool. They'd light up. And in the last 2 weeks, I've seen, I don't know, it might have been the same one, but it comes and visits me if I'm outside at night. And it's in my yard. And I could sit there and I could dwell on the fact that there's not as many as there used to be and be sad about that. Or I can just feel really thankful and grateful that the one I can see came to visit me. I know. That's the little kid in me that never died. When it comes to nature, and you deal with me, when it comes to nature, you're always going to get a 5-year-old. I just appreciate it so much. Those are just some really good examples of how we choose to look at life. It's kind of like relationships. Some are brought in to give us a good lesson, to make us happy, and then maybe something about it is off. We can look at, oh, that didn't work out for me, or we can look at, thank you for giving me that lesson, or thank you for being a part of my life where I got to grow or experience that positive emotion from it. It's all in how we look at it. We can look at things that don't work out for us. We can look at it from the disappointment side of, I'm really hurt or bummed that didn't work out. Or we can look at it from the grateful side that I'm glad it existed even for a short time, because I gained something from it, and hopefully that person did too, or whatever the case may be. There's all kinds of scenarios in our life. Sometimes it's even with things. There's a lot of things that we can have in our lives, or bring into our lives. That's the part that we have a little control over, right? I can budget for something and then buy it and then be grateful that I have it and treat it accordingly. But gratitude goes a long way with abundant mindset. You know, I'll ask people sometimes, what are you grateful for? I'm not grateful for anything. Life is always mean to me. It's this, that, and everything else. It's like, oh, so you're deaf, or you're blind, or you can't walk. You have zero sense of independency. And then it's like, oh no, or you don't have a job. And some people don't have a job, but we can rectify that, right? My point is that we have more things to be grateful for than oftentimes we think. You know, maybe I'm grateful for the fact that I can put gas in my car. That doesn't mean I need to be complacent and not want more from my life. But there are some people that literally, especially with the cost of gas right now, can't put gas in when they want to. They have to plan for it. I was just having this conversation the other day. I was looking out the window and talking about the future and things like that, and how there are things and changes that I want to make happen. There's more that I might want for my life. But that doesn't mean I'm not grateful for all that I have. Whether that be people, whether that be my home. I might not be happy with my home or things about it, but that doesn't mean I'm not happy that I have it and all the blessings that it may have brought into my life. I have a car. Some people don't have a car. I've been in a position in my life where I didn't have a car, or I couldn't afford gas, or I couldn't make 2 cents into 2 cents. I know how that feels. So I guess the other thing too is when you've been laid low in your life for whatever reason, to not sit and try and blame or figure that stuff out, but instead it's pull yourself up by whatever you call it, the suspenders or the bootstraps. I don't even know what that is. A saying. There's an idiom there. I'm not sure what it is. But in any case, learn from it. Right? Everything happens to keep us growing, to keep us moving forward. So learn and move forward accordingly. If you want your life to be different, then make different choices. If you want to feel happier about what you have, then look at it differently. That's abundant mindset. It's taking your circumstances and not feeding negativity, but instead being willing to challenge yourself sometimes, to find the things about it that you can be grateful for. So if it's someone leaving your life, maybe it's, well, I'm grateful that I learned that now and not later when it could have hurt more. Or, I don't know. Sometimes we just don't have all the answers, but we just got to do what we feel is right in the moment. Again, be kind to yourself. It's important. Anyway, that's one aspect of abundant mindset. It's just being willing to be grateful, look at things a little differently, and recognizing when maybe you're thinking about things in such a way that it's keeping you in a negative mindset versus allowing yourself to challenge yourself to look at it from a more positive mindset, regardless of the situation. Sorry, bird over there making some weird noises. Anyway, so those are just some of my examples, but we all have things. What makes your soul smile? What at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I gotta jump up and down and scream at the top of my lungs that made me so happy. It could be just simple happiness, simple things. Like whenever I catch the color purple, it puts a smile in my heart because I love that color. That doesn't mean I want to decorate my whole house in that color, but I like to sprinkle it throughout my life so that there's a balance. Is that word too, right? That there's a balance of little smiles that get me through the day. An appreciation of flowers, an appreciation of, you name it. Sense of humor. I always love to laugh. Makes me happy. But there's all kinds of little things. It's paying attention. It's that being mindful again. What puts a smile on my face? What was I thinking when that happened? How do I build that more into my life so that I find myself having more things to be grateful for? The challenge I used to do with my kids when they were little was, all right, when I pick you up from school, I want you to give me at least three things today that made you smile. And they'd always end up having like way more than 3 because they were looking for it. What do you choose to focus on? What are you looking for? Because if we tell ourselves in the morning, this is going to be a terrible day, guess what kind of day you're going to have? You're going to have a terrible day because you're looking for things to prove your brain right. You're looking for things to prove that today was a terrible day. However, the reality of it is that there's perceived good and bad, positive and negative, right? That we put judgment on, that happen throughout our day on both ends. That's the reality of it. We never have a day that's 100% good or 100% bad. What are you focused on? That's the challenge. What do you focus on? In my life, that doesn't mean I don't have bad days, because we all do. However, when I'm mindful of that and I choose to turn it around, I pay attention to that. I choose to pay attention to the thoughts I'm having. Sometimes I'll do something in my environment, like maybe play music. That can be amazing to turn things around. If I'm really sad, maybe I'll watch a funny movie or a funny video, because nothing can turn us around faster than laughter. Those are the areas where we have control. Just be mindful. What am I telling myself? What are my beliefs around that? What am I doing? And that's how we can lift ourselves up a little bit more and have more of that abundant mindset. All right, that's it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, share about my butterflies, my little miracle. And every once in a while, I still see them. It's amazing to me, and it always makes my heart smile. It really does. Same with the birds. I have one of those bird feeders on my window that's like clear, so you can sit in the dining room and see the birds come and go. And we've had some really cool birds this year. Well, they're there all year, but just this season has been some amazing birds. I've had a red-tailed hawk, a lot of blue jays, the Baltimore Orioles, so many really pretty cardinals, just beautiful birds. And they all like to come and say hi. Literally, I'm going to call it a miracle too. I had another bird. I was sitting at the dining room looking out the window. This bird came over, and it wasn't a hummingbird, but it just kind of hovered in the window looking at me. And then it flew off, and I was like, I couldn't help but feel like someone was trying to tell me something. So in those moments especially, I really stop and try and be mindful of my environment, internal and external. Like, what are the thoughts I was just having? Maybe I need to have more of them, or maybe I need to have less of them. What is in my environment that maybe I need to pay attention to? Did I just get a message? I don't know, on my phone, Not to get hokey on you, but that's how I live my life. And it keeps a smile on my face for the most part. Keeps me in the game, keeps me moving forward, keeps me focused. So, food for thought. I hope you enjoy this day, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.